Hi, my name is Yao Ping. ID number is KH21041. Shukayan and I have chosen the title Respiratory Design Preventions for our group projects. Introductions. Mining is a process to extract the mineral from the earth. The toxic gases such as methane and carbon monoxide are risky to the miners as it can cause respiratory diseases such as lung cancer. As we know, most of the mineral that in the earth is mixed with the rocks with the oil. So if we want to get the mineral that we want, so we need to mining and refinery. Hence, the safety and the regulations should be enforced from time to time to minimize the incidents.
So my name is Kahin, so I will continue with the presentations of the mining layout. So mining layout plays a very important role towards the environment, towards the prevention of respiratory diseases. So as the layout, perfect layout with the perfect exit plan and also the ventilation system, this will help the workers, mining workers, having a good and also safety environment to conduct their mining activities. So there are four things that have to be take note in this mining layout, which is the first one will be the adequate airflow. Having adequate airflow will help in preventing the respiratory diseases as it will help to reduce the accumulations of the disease inside the mining system. The next will be the ventilation circuit optimization. So how to optimize the circuit? So by providing a good supply of clean air throughout the working environment by using the latest technology, such as the next point, which I will touch, with local exhaust ventilation. So local exhaust ventilation is a good system, which is the combinations of the turbine system with fans to clear out all and capture all the disease inside the mine, so that by using this system, all the bacteria can be catched and also the respiratory disease can be prevented among the miners. So the lastly is the dust control measures and also gas monitoring control. So both plays a very important role as a sensors. So this detector will help the engineer to alert throughout all the time and also to make a good preventions tactics and also strategy so that the disaster can be prevented. So the next presentations, I will pass back to Wenping.
Strategy goals and objective. The first goal is promote a culture of health and safety. The objective in this goal is implement a comprehensive health and safety management system that prioritizes respiratory disease preventions. The second objective is foster a safety quotient work environment through regular communication, training, and awareness programs. The second goal is identify and assess respiratory hazards. The objective in this goal is conduct regularly risk assessment to identify potential respiratory hazard specific to mining operations. The second objective is establish a robust monitoring system to measure and track exposure levels to airborne contaminants. The third goal is enhance training and education. There are three objectives in this goal. The first objective is provide comprehensive training programs on respiratory hazard health effect and preventive measures. The second objective is train miners on the proper use, maintenance, and the limitations of respiratory protection equipment. The last objective in this goal is promote awareness of early symptoms of respiratory disease and encourage reporting and seeking medical attention.
So the next topic that I will present will be the legal provisions. So the legal provision is fine with together with the Occupational Health Safety Act, which exists under the year 1994. So this act actually existed to ensure that all the employers and also employees to obey the regulations that has been set up by the government in order to make sure that the working environments is safe for both employers and also employees, and also to prevent a major catastrophe. So there are four major sections that I'll be touching about these legal provisions. The first legal provision that I'll be touching about is the section 15, general duties of employers and also the self-employed persons. So basically, all the employers have the duty to ensure that their employees have the safe working environments and also to the necessity rights in working in their workplaces. So this include that providing and maintaining a safe working environment include the measures to prevent the respiratory hazards. This is due to all the employees that has been employed has their own life that has to be taken. So this is why the employers play a very big role to ensure their safety. So the other will be the section 16, the general duties of the manufacturers, suppliers, and also importers. In mining industry especially, it's a very dangerous industry which have many hazards that cannot be predicted. So that's why all the items and also the machines has to be verified. So by the fixed departments. So the manufacturers, suppliers, and also the importers of substance used in the workplace have a duty to ensure that the substance are safe without the risk to health when used properly. So this provision is applies to substance that may cause respiratory diseases or hazards when inhaled. So the next section will be the section 17, the general duties of the employees. So other than employers, the employees also have their responsibility in make sure that they obey the regulations that has been set up in by their own company. So this is to ensure that their safety is protected, is ensured, and also follow all the safety procedure by using the respiratory protective equipment while working. So lastly, the section 24 mentioned about the machinery and plants. So employers must ensure that the machinery and plants used in the workplace are safe and does not poses any risk to health, including respiratory hazards. So due to the machinery used in this mining industry is very important. So it's very important also to ensure that all the machinery used is working in good conditions. So this provision is applied to the dust components and also the ventilation system and other equipment that mitigate with the respiratory risk. So after touching about the legal provisions, so we have done a conduct on the research on preventions of respiratory diseases. So while conducting this, we have to determine the strength, the opportunity, and also the threats, and also the weakness towards this research topic. So we have done a simple SWOT analysis of status quo issues. So the first one will be the strengths toward this topic. So the strength towards these topics applies towards the Occupational Safety Health Act 1994. So this act actually plays a very important role as this is the only act that can be taken action towards the employers and also the employees. So it has a very strong foundation which has been exists from since 1994 towards now. So all the regulations has been up to date until now. So it is very important in also it also promotes respiratory diseases prevention tactic in the workplace. So the other will be the active collaborations and also partnership for improvement. As Malaysia is a third world country which has a good relationship with other countries, so it is important for Malaysia to have a collaboration with other countries to improve their knowledge about the mining system in our own country. Example, the collaboration of Malaysia Chamber of Mines (MCOM) with the other countries mining company, so such as Australia. So this collaboration shows that the efforts of understanding towards the mining system in other countries. This is because Australia is very famous in mining rare earth resources, which is more dangerous compared to our own country. So that's why the collaboration with Australia will become a very good tactics for Malaysia, as it will give many benefits, such as the Australia will have many advanced technology and also technologies that can prevent the respiratory diseases. So that's why using through the collaboration, Malaysia can enhance their weakness. So the other will be the Malaysia involvement in international labor organizations to create a better work country program in mining industry. So other than technologies that require in this industry, work program is also one of the basic foundation that has to be fixed in Malaysia, as having a having a regular working time will also help in preventing these respiratory diseases. And Malaysia making effort by joining international labor organization is a good way to start. The next will be the witness towards the status quo issues. So the first witness will be the problems with the enforcement of regulations. So due to the manpowers, it is hard to control a company and also to make sure that all the employees to uh, obey the regulations. So this will become one of the challenges they have to overcome by the company. So to ensure that all the all the employers will be follow the rules adequately and also monitoring all their actions will be hard for the management team. So the next will be the opportunity. So the opportunity in this research topic will be the technology advancement in mining industry. So technology such as the local exhaust ventilations, the AI has been used as a monitoring system that can be seen as an effective method to prevent the catastrophic from happening. So this will become a very good opportunity for Malaysia to adapt in mining industry for preventions of respiratory diseases. The next will be the integrations of occupational health and safety. So the integration urge the axis of integration is to create a synergies and also improve the overall workplace health. So incorporation respiratory diseases preventions into comprehensive health and safety management system can ensure a holistic and also integrated approaches. So lastly will be the threats towards this research topic. So the threats that can be seen is the evolutions of workplace hazards in rapid speed. So take COVID-19 as an example. It's a virus that keep evolving. So to cope with the diseases, all the researchers has to be updated with the current knowledge. So to keeping up with emerging hazards and also implementing appropriate preventive measures can be challenging, and also it requires a regular updates to the regulations and also guidelines, as it's not easy to update the regulations and also the guidelines as it involves many procedures. The lastly will be the factors of economy as a threat for prevention of respiratory diseases in mining industry. Although all the plans of having a good ventilation system and also having a good design in mining system may seem only way to prevent this disease, respiratory diseases, but then in the end, all this will eventually come to a cost, which it is unbearable for small company and even sometimes a big company to apprehend this issue. So some employers may prioritize the cost of reductions. So this may eventually leading to more problems, bigger problems, as this will also increase the risk of respiratory diseases because due to the usage of cheap equipment and also the chip equipment may not function well and also as expected. So eventually it brings back to the problems where the respiratory diseases still exist. So in these research activities, so the research activities that has been conducted towards the focus topic in which is the advanced artificial intelligence air monitoring system in mining industry ventilations. So this system act as a main topics for our research for the prevention of respiratory diseases. So the concept will be the artificial intelligence system sensors will be placed in the mining areas to detect the hazard. Once the hazard is detected, it will send all the data towards the computational fluid dynamic analysis system. So this system will make the calculation and also to check the ventilation condition inside the mine. So once all the analysis has been done, you will send all the data and also the necessary preventions towards the active local exhaust ventilations. So this system act as a emergency plans to clear up all the respiratory diseases inside the mine. So this good ventilation system is important to ensure that the air is clean and so breathable for all the miners from time to time. So this is very important as we can take Jamestown Youth Coal Mine disasters as an example. So Jamestown Youth Coal Mine disaster happens in 2017. This coal mine disaster happens not because of explosion, but the leakage of the methane gases, which causes the inhalation of methane and also poisoning to the miners. So the death can be seen at its peak recorded because due to the inhalation of the methane gases. Other than that, the methane gases also leak to the environment, which causes the nearby area to be sealed for 1 week and also causing the local residents their help. So the artificial intelligence of things AIoT has been introduced to infuse the monitoring system of normal mining ventilations. So towards the next will be the research methodology. The research methodology used in this project is by identifications of respiratory hazards. So there are many types of hazards. For example, it can be the dust in form of dust. The second will be in form of gas, fume, and so on. Once the hazard is detected, the evaluation will be done by the advanced air ventilation monitoring system, and the proper preventive measure actions will be taken. And then lastly, the action taken and also to make sure that all the workers are in good condition. The research theory is about the artificial intelligence cloud system. So this artificial intelligence cloud system is basically a database that store all the data that has been collected through the sensors. So it can be actively used in this mining system because it has a large database that can be stored, and also the data can be collected through online and also offline. So no matter at what condition, the artificial intelligence system will work perfectly. So other than that is the computational fluid dynamic system, which use the governing equations. So this governing equation will eventually act as illustrations to illustrate out all the hazards in the ventilations in the mine. So how does it affect the ventilation system in the mine? So this equation act as a catalyst which will which will make sure that the proper illustrations of the ventilations in mine can be shown clearly. So lastly, other than the hazards, the dust and also the particles sizes in the dust and also the particles concentration can also be illustrated clearly. After knowing about the research methodology and so on, it's time to talk about the research outputs. So the research outputs focus on the artificial intelligence sensors results. So the result is shown as above, where there are multiple types of sensors that has been used in this system, which is the first one is the laser dust sensor. The second will be the carbon monoxide sensors and the carbon dioxide sensors and also volatile organic or compound sensor VOC. So in each case, each sensors is built differently, but these sensors are the major sensors and also due to the reasons of this hazard can be found easily inside the mine mine. So that's why all this sensor is used to see how fast the detection of hazard can be found. So for the laser dust sensors, 0.7 micrometer of fine dust is injected at 1.5 liter per minute. So inside the chamber where all the experiment is start simultaneously. So the time start is around 4 p.m. So the detected time is around 4 p.m. and 14 minutes. So which it takes time around 910 seconds. So this dust sensor which prove that the sensors is efficient as it take 40 minutes to detect the fine dust inside the mine system. So taken up to 40 minutes, all the data can be sent towards the computations fluid dynamic system CDF, which will illustrate how the dust can affect the ventilation system. So the second one will be the carbon monoxide CO sensor. So carbon monoxide is injected at the rate of 1.5 liter per minute. So in this case, this carbon monoxide sensors take up to 2 seconds to detect. So due to the test has been done in this sensors to determine the carbon monoxide. So it is safely to assume that this sensor is very reliable. So as it can in this short period of time it can prevent the disaster such as the carbon monoxide poisoning from happening. So the third will be the carbon dioxide sensor, which also take around 6 seconds to detect 1.5 liter per minute of carbon dioxide is injected in the carbon in the chamber. So the fourth is the VOC sensor, which the VOC, the organic compound that injected in this chamber is toluene. So toluene is a very dangerous organic compound as it can causes nausea in mine, as mining sometimes can take towards the underground and the oxygen level is affected in the underground level. So injecting toluene sometimes can appear inside the mines. So that's why toluene is injected in this in this experiment. So to detect the toluene, the sensors takes 158 seconds. So which is a very short period of time to detect the toluene, as there are many procedures need and also require to detect. So by using the short period of time, all the sensors can work very well and also send the database towards the computation fluid dynamic system to make the illustrations of how it affects the ventilation. So by sending this data, the engineers that monitor the system can make a precise decisions and also the necessary actions to take to ensure the safety of the workers. So the second output is the comparison illustrations of the form of hazard detections using the computational fluid dynamic projection system. So it can be seen that the projections has been shown clearly as the hazards shown inside this diagram is the carbon monoxide. So it can be seen clearly that the ventilation system has been illustrated clearly by using the governing equations of CFD system. So this system eventually will see how it affect the ventilations inside the mining area. So the necessary action can be taken. Other than the hazards, it can also analyze the dust and also particles inside the mining system. So as it shows in diagram number 2, so the diagram number 2 has clearly shown that how the dust and also the particles inside the condition of the mine system. So blue indicates the low level of dust particles, while the green indicates the medium level of dust and also particles. So if there's a high level of dust and particles, it can be shown through the colors in the systems. Lastly, it will be the research outputs. So the research output is the time taken for the analysis system to secure the area through the local exhaust system. So the local exhaust system take up to the effectiveness in securing the contaminant sites in seconds. So it means that it's used to test how long does the system need to ensure that all the contaminant is captured. So for instance, local exhaust ventilation system capture dust at the rate of 5,000 per minute, 5,000 liter per minute. So it only takes up to 55.5 seconds to capture all the dust. So while gases, it takes up to 1.3 seconds to capture 120 liter per minute of gases. And also the fume, it takes up to 129.63 seconds to catch up more than 11,666.7 liter per minute of contaminants. So which proves that this system, local exhaust system, is very effective as it takes up not more than 200 seconds to clear up all the contaminants, which also ensure the safety of the workers in short period of times. The program planning preventive measure. So as the preventive measure, so there are two preventive measures that has been pointed out. The first will be the increase of quality education and also the training in mining industry. So it is important for all the miners that involved in this mining industry to have a quality education and also training. So through quality education and training, they can understand and more alerts towards their surrounding, especially towards the ventilation principles, as ventilation principles requires high level of knowledge to understand, and also with the proper ventilation principles understanding for the miners, they can know how to survive in their in for their own goods. So the next will be the case study. So through the case studies that happens in previous year and also practical exercise for the professionals to learn and also to recognize the potential risks in these accidents. Okay, so for the next will be the analyze and also to interpret this data by using statistical methods and also data visualization tools. So to operate systems such as computational fluid dynamic require knowledge for the engineers. So with a proper knowledge, they can know what is the necessary preventive measures to be taken so that all the miners can conduct their working in safely. So the lastly will be the reducing accidents through the ventilation enhancements program, RAVE program, which implemented by the company. So this RAVE program is initiative by by every mining company in Malaysia to reduce the accident through the simulations in to be conducted every month. Next preventive measure will be the strict enforcement of rules of occupational safety health act in mining site. So this is very important as strict enforcement of rules may teach the lessons to the company. So the occupational safety act, as I mentioned in related legal provisions, there are many acts which include the respiratory protection by the occupational safety health act mandates, the ventilation system that has been regulated point out by the OHSHA, and also the educational training program by the OSHA, and also the regular monitoring program. So these are the preventive measure that has been taken. So regularly monitoring program done by the inspector on sites can give a very good example for other company, as stern action can be taken towards the company that has break the rules and also the regulation. For example, take Kuantan mining bauxite mining incidents. So this incident has causes harm and also towards the environment. So the courts have decided to give a heavy compounds to the company that has been involved in bauxite mining. So after the courts rules out the punishment, all the companies which involved in the bauxite mining also start to obey the regulations. So this is one of the example where the strict enforcement of rules act as a preventive measure and also a program planning. So the last part that I'll be touching about is the anticipated barriers. So the first anticipated barriers that been preventing the implementation towards the preventions of the respiratory disease is the economic barriers. So the economic barriers can be unpredicted, as the economic downfalls can be happen overnight. So inadequate resources and funding can impede the implementation of effectiveness respiratory disease preventions. So limitation in budget is one of the causes for the company to implement the engineering controls, personal protective equipment, and also training programs. So some company may also have some corruption behaviors which will causes all the budget allocates to the per, to the disaster to the preventions of diseases program affected. So for small business and also small company, economy disaster barriers can be very disadvantageous, as they have to face many challenges in order to build a proper ventilation system and also to buy some personal protective equipment for the miners. So the last part of the program plan will be the program Gantt chart. So in this Gantt chart shows the 5 weeks that has been used to do this research. So the Gantt chart is divided into 4 phases. The phase 1 will be the formation of team. So towards the formation of team, it includes the title discussions with teammate, which is Liao Wenping. So the Gantt chart is formed in the first week of the formations of team. The second phases enter, which will be the task distribution. So in this task distribution, meeting and also task introductions will be done, and all the team members is involved. So as set up the goals and also objective is located in phase 2. So phase 3 is the project progress. So in phase 3, most important topic has been touched and also brainstormed. So brainstorming in technology research, which has several ideas, and also the brainstorming of preventive measures, and also the barriers that has been involved in the for the research topics. So the lastly will be the presentations. So the presentations is involved for all the members. So that's all for my presentations.
Conclusion: having a fully updated system such as advanced artificially intelligent air monitoring system in mining industry is one of the way to preventing the respiratory disease in mining industry. Other than that, skill of workforces and occupational safety and art and health arts are also important, and they are the driving forces that lead to the preventing the respiratory disease in mining industry. Here is one of the barriers that restrict all the ideology in preventing the respiratory disease, which is economy barrier. It's due to the cost that bear by the company. The most affected company is the small company that need to start the mining. That's all for our groups. Thank you.